All right, peace, family. We kind of not really live, semi-live. We're recording this live, but we're in the process right now of upgrading our equipment. So you see half of our equipment upgraded, and half of it's not. So this is Brandon B. Dixon. You tuned into the Power of Ownership podcast, and I got my guest host Stephen Contreras here.
Hey, how are you guys doing? Stephen Contreras here.
Right, so I'm going to introduce myself, and then we're going to go in. I know we've been on a hiatus, but both Stephen went to Colorado, and I was in Georgia, so we both was on business trips, just on our normal vocations, just grinding and getting better and trying to, enhance our vocational aspects of our lives. So that's where, if anything, that's where we've been. But let me give you a brief introduction. My name is Brandon B. Dixon. I'm a published author, serial entrepreneur, mortgage broker. Also the author of the book Sales, the Nucleus of Any Profession is out right now. And a YouTuber and podcaster, the latest on my resume. This is the Power of Ownership podcast, where we talk about ownership not only of businesses, but intellectual property, but also ownership of the mind, body, and soul. So I'm going to let Stephen go in and go ahead and introduce yourself, and let's get the show started.
Yeah, hey guys, I'm Stephen Contreras here, geologist in Houston, Texas, kind of like a Renaissance man, study of the arts and sciences. It's kind of what I do for fun. I was in Colorado, climbing up mountains and working and trying to travel, trying to do it all just one step at a time. I guess that's all we can do.
Gotcha. So, I really wanted to. We're going to finish the 48 Laws of Power series, which we have. We got 13 more laws, so we might as well just knock that one out in one big show. But I wanted to address, have a show on something that's been coming up, and I want to talk about haters, man. Let's talk about the haters. A whole show dedicated to haters. Since y'all wanted our attention, y'all got our attention. Haters. Let's break down every aspect of hate. Haters, trolls. What's another good name for them, Steve? Besides trolls.
Sheep.
I mean, the sociopaths. What else? What else are they called?
I don't know. They're not pleasant people to hang out with. It's just
right.
You try to avoid it when you can. You can just smell it. It's like blood in the water, really.
Right. Let's start off with this. Let's talk about where it all began. Let's talk about the history of hatred. Let's go and build on that a little while and where it all started. I know you probably go to biblical aspect, but I'm going to talk more on the metaphysical tip, where it's something that's innately within us, that started as a negative gene within us. And the old, if you go biblical story, you got the Cain and Abel. Also, you got the story about Lucifer, the fallen angel. And this is one of the things I like to talk about a lot. Not saying that this is a literal thing, but this particular angel who figured that he had more power than man. And when the Most High said, bow to him, he said that I'm greater than he.
Yeah, that's the ego, man. The ego is the source of hate itself, really. It's the idea of the blockage of what's really out there, and that's where a lot of people get confused.
Right. So that was one of the beginnings aspects of it, and this is all story wise. This is all like starting within ourselves. When you get outside of the oneness, and you forget that this is all a harmonic play. An orchestra that's all playing its note according to how it's supposed to be done. And now that you think that you're better than an aspect or a particular aspect of the Most High, that's when that's what creeps the hatred in. That's the beginning of hate.
Yeah, to try to find yourself, you always have to let go of the parts that you hate about yourself in the first place. That's one of the first steps in the evolution of hate, is just letting go. And I do like that though. what you just said. I think the history of it all, though, it's far older. It's like the history of hate is actually like the history of the universe in a way. Honestly, it's like coincides with, like you said, that it's built into our human selves. It's just one of our emotions, one of the bad emotions that we have to learn how to control.
Right. I think as far as emotions, there's only really two emotions: it's love and fear.
Yeah.
And the rest are like offspring of those two particular emotions.
Yeah, that's what Yoda says, right?
Right.
Fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate leads to suffering, right?
Right.
It's all fear in the end.
Right. So fear, again, false evidence appearing real. And then that leads to anger and hate, So that anger, is that content, that when you despise an aspect of yourself,
Mm-hmm.
And then you reflect it externally out on another human being, and it's something that you hate about yourself.
Yeah.
And the hate that you can't do or cannot do, and you in turn don't know how to internalize it, so you take it out on something, a cause. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Sometimes people don't even realize they're doing it either. It's like subconscious, and then they end up turning it on to other people or objects or even on themselves, which can be very destructive. If a person starts to hate themselves, that's it's a slippery slope, and I don't wish that on anyone. It's a hard thing to deal with, for sure.
Right. So, I think it starts with the self. Everything starts with yourself. So it's something that most people, the haters, start with something they don't like about themselves, something that they're not doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then that person, that outside person, instead of taking it and alchemizing it and making yourself better, it's that fear of loss is almost stronger than hope of gain. So that fear of loss, that you're losing something because somebody else is doing something faster or better or bigger than you can. So you actually fear, and then it leads to anger. You're angry at yourself because you're either too lazy to do the things, or don't have the knowledge, or don't have the get up and go to do it. So in turn, that leads to hatred of that person instead of analyzing yourself.
And then the hate leads to suffering because people don't know how to fix it, right? So they just internalize it. Instead of internalizing positive energy, they internalize negative energy, and which causes suffering and pain. And that's one of the two worst qualities of a human being. Or like, no one wants to live with those two things. It's very, very hard.
Right, exactly. So it's just a chain reaction. So, this is a good segue to the second part on then the evolution of hate. So now that we got to where, all right, now I'm hating on an external being and not taking the responsibility myself. Because think about it. Let's say, for example, all right, let me give you an example real fast. Let's say you're running a marathon and the person that's lapping everybody, the front runner, gets an injury. Most people will be saddened, if you're in the right state of mind, you'll be saddened because that's my pace marker. That's the guy that's going to get me better to where I need to be. But most people, some people, should I say, are glad that now it gives them an opportunity to take the lead without getting better.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
They don't know. They don't know what better is what you're saying, right?
Right. Well, that's the thing. They don't want to get. They're too lazy to get better. They're too lazy to do it themselves. They're too lazy to actually train like that person trained to be the front runner. So they, in turn, instead of trying to train like them, they'll try to trip them up or slow them down or just talk and hate on it, and they think that'll slow that person down, which in turn it won't.
Yeah.
So the evolution becomes, all right, now this hate becomes an entity within itself.
Yeah, it almost manifests its own form, right? And if you think about that, the evolution where it starts from is the evolution of the ego or the false self, right? When
Right.
we're born pure, like as a pure baby. You know, we have unlimited knowledge, and it's the outside forces, that the material world, that we learn what hate is. It's a manifestation of something that isn't pure in ourselves, really.
Right. We were taught, instead of, by your parents, by your, the TV programming, instead of taking responsibility yourself to better the impurity, the imperfections that you see in yourself, we were taught to blame others. And that blaming others leads to hatred of other people that's different than you. Does that make sense?
I agree. Yeah, I agree. It's like you can't run away from it. The hate will always be there, right? You have to. Like, if we're just speaking about ourselves in general, like just as human beings, like if you leave the hate there, you have to. Eventually, you're going to have to confront it. You know, there's no way not to confront the hate. Like it will always be there until we do something about it.
Well, I kind of disagree with you on a little bit, because some people never confront the hate. Some people take the hate to their grave.
Yeah.
Some people never mature.
Yeah, I actually like how you bring that point up, because I try to be nice, right? But like,
right.
If they don't understand, if they don't get it this time around, they're just gonna come back, and hopefully next time.
Right. You'll be back. So some people.
Yeah, you'll be back.
Right. And so that's the thing. Some people never. They take the hatred to their grave. They still don't get it. And in their old age, they still are blaming other people for their downfall, for their shortcomings, instead of internalizing it and getting better within themselves. That way they're at peace. If you cannot, it's an oxymoron. You cannot be at peace and have hate towards somebody else. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's very true. It's like you can't. To be happy, you have to let it all go. It's like, I'll use Yoda again because it's like so important, right? He literally says, you have to learn how to let the things you love the most go. Because like, eventually the love turns to hate, and then the hate turns to anger, and the anger turns to suffering. You have to be able to realize, like, we're all going to pass, we're all going to let go. Everyone plays a different role in society, and it's not our jobs to hate other people. Our jobs is to promote happiness, love, peace. And try to help people. And it's outside forces, or it's internal forces in ourselves that really just it shadows our potential. Is what I'm trying to say. If you can learn to live without hate, you can have so much potential to focus your energy at so many different things.
Well, again, I want to slightly change that a degree. I think some people's job is to be haters, because it motivates the real movers and shakers and the real changers of this particular physical plane. It's not only a motivating factor, but now as a real mover and shaker, as a person that's a creator, it actually makes that creation sweeter, and it makes that the true supporters of the creation even more appreciated. You see what I'm saying? So I think it is.
I like that.
Yeah,
it's nice.
I think it is part of their job nowadays, like to be, a hater. Like the old hip hop cliches and stuff like that. Haters get on your job, stay on your job. It's part of their job now. It's a sad thing that you got a person that they whole reason for being is to try to spin anything that someone is here to do and try to spin it to a negative.
Yeah, and I'd say about 90, maybe not 90, probably 85% of people will smile when you're around them, but in the end they're just hating, and that's the frenemies like we always talk about too, just haters gonna hate, it's like if they hate us, they're gonna hate us, Seth Rogen, James Franco quote.
Well, that's kind of a good segue to the next part. Now that it evolved, that it's become part of our society. Like hate is a big part of our society. Like there's pessimists and there's contrarians everywhere now. You know, most people are pessimists. It's almost part of our culture now, and it's a societal norm to be somewhat of a hater nowadays. You know, so, and it's sad to say, and that's why I think we're stagnated as a society, because you got just as many, if not more people on that side that blames others for their downfall than the people that take personal responsibility and try to make themselves better. So
yeah, it's an easy route. It's an easy out.
Right, it's the easy out. It definitely is. Like anything, hate is easy. It's harder to love. You got to be mature, and you got to graduate. You gotta evolve in order to see the love in somebody, and love that person despite their flaws. It's easy to be angry instead of forgive. It's easy to fear instead of being brave. All this stuff is the easy way out, you know, and that's how our society's become. We're comfort addicts, and we're addicted to the easy way out. I think this was in junior high. What was it? What's the name of that book? The Ballad. It's one of the first things you read in 9th grade.
To Kill a Mockingbird.
Nah, Beowulf.
Oh yeah, Beowulf. Yep.
Beowulf.
That's great. Yep.
The thing about Beowulf is that you got two choices. You could go to easy street or you could go to hard street, you know, and that's basically what it is. There's the fork in the road, and in this fork that you perceive that it's going to be harder. So most people take the easy street, and the easy street is usually the harder way out.
Yeah, and it always comes full circle too. Like they think that, like you said, they think they're taking the easy way out, but like in the end, they just make more work for themselves, because you can't run away from it.
Right.
It's always there. It's always there. Until you confront something, it's always. So that's where you get the expression "chip on his shoulder." You know, you have to flick it off. You know, or what Jay-Z does, turn off my shoulder.
Well, that's the thing. The universe is always going to make you confront your downfalls, and some people it's going to keep coming back and back, again and again until you deal with it. That's just what this is. You know, you're going to have to deal with it. You know, so let's talk about society as well. I mean, the people that, I don't want to say, because this is the thing, I've never been a hater. And it's hard for me to fathom a lot of times the mind frame of a particular hater. I don't have time. Me personally, I'm trying to be a creator. I have my own projects and stuff I'm trying to do. I don't have time personally to, be worried about somebody else's projects, somebody else's life. I just never have the time. So I wonder, first of all, where these haters and the trolls get the time to be concerned about other people's affairs. If it's something, if somebody's not doing anything immoral, unethical, or illegal, why do you care?
Yeah, it's because they're bored, right? It's like they don't have anything else to do.
Right.
Like I said, it's easy to that's why another part of hate is gossip too,
Right.
Spreading false
Slander.
gossips. Like, I hate talking bad about people. I really try very hard not to ever talk bad about anyone, because it's just, what good does that accomplish about anything? That's like what middle-aged people do because they have nothing else to do. They like to talk and spread rumors and try to trip people up because they're bored. They have nothing else to do.
Well, that's basically what we were saying in the beginning. Like, if you don't have nothing on your trestle board that you're creating, you have no choice but to, I guess, criticize and down talk somebody doing something with their life. A lot of people, even, it's amazing me, how positive that we come across. It's a reach to try to find something wrong with what we're doing. So it's amazing me, even as positive as we are, we have haters. It's just amazing. So, it's something's not right with a person that can reach and stretch and take that much energy. My thing is, if you could take that same amount of energy that you do in hating and apply it to your own life, and you can get out your situation. And that's what I'm gonna talk more about in the segment 4 is how to get out your situation, how to stop, how to transform yourself from a hater to a player, into to actual player in the game instead of trying to be a spectator and try to trip people up.
Yeah, like we said, it's society in general. It's like that comfort living. It's part of the mind control. It's just like people get scared. It comes back down to fear. People get scared for things that they don't understand really, or like they understand it, but they don't. They're like, why are these guys trying to do what they're trying to do, or in general, why are these people trying to do something different? Because that's the only way to make change in the world is to try something different. If everyone did everything the same, progress would never be made. Like learning would never take place.
Well, that's what we're here to do. We're here to make change. We're here to move. A thing that's idle is dead. So it got to constantly be moving and evolving. And the people that's anti-evolution, the people that's anti-change, that's anti-progression, those people don't have a clue how the universe works. Business, anything, everything is constantly evolving and growing. That's how this works. You're constantly moving. Yeah, you're constantly moving. Even your body, you think this is a solid. Nah, these are a bunch of cells that's compacted together, that's constantly moving. If they stop moving, you're dead meat. So
that's the definition of death, is cellular degeneration.
Right. So just like society, just like everything in life, period, it has to evolve. It has to move. It has to take place. So are you going to be a cell in a healthy body, or are you going to be a cancer cell? And I think a lot of these haters are cancer cells. You're trying to progress and stop the growth by killing other cells.
Yeah. And I like that analogy a lot. That's very relatable on so many levels. It's like, if people are watching this video, it's like, what you just said is like literally like a triple entendre. Like you literally layered that analogy to make 3 different things. It's beautiful. It's great.
Right. So that's just what this is, man. Like, so again, I mean, yeah, I agree to the fact that some people don't understand it and people hate what they don't understand. But the easy thing in my point, if you don't understand it and you can't understand it, just go to the source. Don't go. The thing is, in society, and this is the thing. This is the thing that I know. I think they know inherently because you have the scales of my eye inherently in your DNA. You know the difference between right or wrong. Mm-hmm. And the way they like a lot of haters go about it, behind the back, slick, not in front, not straight up, not upright. They go about it slick. I think they know they're ashamed of themselves. That's why the internet with the comments where you could comment anonymously gave the platform to a lot more haters and a lot more trolls, because most haters cannot hate to your face. They have to go behind your back. They have to go slippery. They have to go anonymously because they're really ashamed of themselves.
Yeah.
So they can't, if you're not doing anything wrong, if you got an honest gripe, you should be able to look that person eye to eye and say, hey, I think you're wrong because of this. If your tactic is behind somebody's back, you're a hater.
Mm-hmm. And so it comes back down to communication too. It's like there's no need for it, right? I mean, I understand your point with haters are here to push us better, to be better versions of ourselves, But and I do like that a lot. Once you evolve and move past the next stages of society, like social society's hatefulness, right? Like the surrounding hate is everywhere, right? So you have to learn how to build yourself up in a way that it doesn't even bother you. Like hate just bounces off. Like it's just, oh, you're trying to throw hate at me? That doesn't matter. I'm going to show you some love. It's way better. It's a higher vibration. It's like, if the world took as much time as they hate and gossip and amount of energy they waste on just not looking for what the answers is internally, like the world would make 1,000 years in 5 years. Like how much progress would be made would be almost exponential. Like we can't even fathom how much progress would be that if people just learn to like stop hating a little bit and love a little bit more.
Right. So I mean, yeah, you said a mouthful right there because, like I said, we are keeping ourselves from progressing. It's fear and hatred that's keeping the world from progressing to like a Star Trek type universe, where we're all on one. Skin color doesn't matter, and class doesn't matter, or our ethnic background doesn't matter. It's humanity keeping humanity back. And it's the haters that's keeping society at a standstill, or moving at a crawl instead of moving at a sprint. So we could easily move at a sprint if we learn how to love instead of hate. It's simple. And the people that's on the hater side, and it's the last segue that I wanted to talk about a little bit, is if you're on that side, it's not too late. It's never too late to get on the right path and stop being a hater, stop being a troll. The main thing is to focus on yourself first. That's the main thing. The second thing is don't keep pace with everybody else. That's going to lead you to hate. Stop looking at people's Facebook profiles and comparing their life to yours, because that's going to lead to
celebrities.
Right.
People living the high life, or even with like people like all that stuff doesn't matter. You just try to live your life to the best. What makes you happy, do it. Don't rely on other people. Like everyone's different. People internalize differently. So like something that works for one person is not going to work for everyone. So some people have to figure out what they want to do. What ideas, where do they want to spend their energy? If they want to spend their energy hating, feeling bad about themselves, things like that, instead of like actually working on something, working on goals, it's not easy. It's the hardest thing to do, to confront yourself and to be like, what can I do to make myself a happy person, a better person? Like, what am I doing wrong? People don't like to change it. Sometimes it takes lifetimes, sometimes it takes years. Some people never get there either. It's tricky. It's definitely tricky.
Well, this is the thing. Picking back up where I left off, it's never too late. It's never too late. You don't have to be a hater the rest of your life.
Yep.
The main thing is to, number one, stop feeling sorry for yourself.
Yep.
I look at most haters and I look at them and I feel sorry for them. And so I know they feel sorry for themselves.
For sure.
They don't have they don't have get up and go. They don't bathe. They smelling like sour milk. So, you gotta take better pride in yourself and outdo yourself. Don't worry about anybody else. This is the thing. Find your niche. Everybody's niche isn't the same. Find your niche in this world and dedicate yourself to that niche. Don't try to be somebody else's niche. Don't try to jump in somebody else's lane. That's what leads to the hatred. Do you to the fullest. And that way you only can focus on you. If you focus on somebody else, then that leads to more hatred. And it leads to other things. It leads to like we seen this week, the two tragedies that we seen this week, where you start to physically act upon your insecurities. That's
horrible, and that's where stuff like that leads up, because they don't have any other help. They've never asked for help. They've never wanted to give help. They've given up on society, where society is ruthless. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there. You know what? Like, I hate to be blunt about it, but no one cares about how people feel, about how, if you're feeling bad about yourself, like, no one's gonna fix it for you. You have to do it yourself. Like, society is ruthless. You have to learn how to deal with your problems and fix them. Because no one else is gonna fix it for you. You have to do it yourself.
Well, there is help for everybody. There is help if you seek it. If you seek the right channels. A lot of people take and they exhaust their hate and they try to find other people with their like mind, and they hate becomes multiplying. That's not the way to You don't put out a fire with more fire. You put out a fire with lack of oxygen or water or whatever. So you need to go opposite. So a lot of people seek, especially with the social media age, if they got hatred on it, they're going to seek like minds so they can feel better about their hatred. You know. Mm-hmm. Also, I want to touch on this before I go any further about the physical aspects of it. You know that people that hate and the negative thinking people, you cause your own self health problems. It's a scientific fact that if you learn to laugh and love, you live longer. Period.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The haters, if you're hating and stressed all the time, it's a scientific fact. Your life will be short and you will have plenty of ailments. And that's all that is that your internal is breaking down because everything is mind. If your mind is negative, your body's going to start deteriorating.
Yeah, exactly. It's like everything is us, you know. So we have to fix it, you know.
Right.
And what I said earlier is like that was just like the norms of society. Of course, there's always ways to get help, but usually people, they never ask for help, you know. And even when you try to help them, they don't care because they're just hating, you know. Right. They would rather just like, oh, maybe I should listen instead of just trying to like just block you out.
Well, this particular channel, and like I said, I'm always here to help haters. If you want to have a discussion with me, man to man, face to face, I'm always there. Again, call in once we start getting the call-in shows and stuff like that. Comment below. You know, it doesn't have to be that. You don't have to be a hater. You could always change and always learn to love instead of hate, and learn to be a creator instead of a hater. You know.
That's all that there is love. You know, love everybody.
Right.
Why should we do anything else? You know, it's all about peace and love, man.
Right.
Peace and love.
I mean, it just is what it is, man. I mean, again, you can escape from this. Learn to go within first. Learn to meditate. Learn to eat right. Learn to laugh. What you want to do is belly laugh every day, man. Find something funny every day, and that'll extend your life. That'll make you at least look at something on an optimistic scale. Stop being pessimistic. Stop looking at the worst and everything, and try to find even the worst person that you think, whatever you hate on, try to find one positive attribute about that particular person or entity that you hate so much, and start there, you know, and start looking at stuff in a positive light, and the positivity begets more positivity. It just is what it is.
Mm-hmm. And it's exponential too. Once you start learning how to love and be positive and fixing yourself from the ground up, everything just opens up for you like it's candy.
Right. Then you start seeing stuff from a whole nother lens. And then, I mean, instead of trying to find, you know, the faults in a show like ours, which is it's really hard to shoot arrows at our particular show because we talk positive damn near every show, you know, so it's really hard. It's really a stretch. You ever seen Street Fighter 2 with Dial Sim?
No, but I do know the video game.
Right, the video where they got this one called Dial Sim. He's an African, and his strength is when he punches, he can stretch out his arms. So it's that much of a stretch to try to throw arrows at us. But again, the pioneers always have the arrows in their back, so I'm not too shaken by it. I just wanted to address the hatred. And I wanted to address haters, and I wanted to give them some working tools on how to better themselves, you know, and stop the madness. You know, the buck stops with you. I mean, now, are we going to end hatred in the world? I doubt it. But, you know, if I could get one person out of this video, I was talking to